Hello, happy Friday. My name is Lydia Wilmsen, business strategist and leadership coach, and I'm here today with Lydia Wilmsen. Lydia, remind me where in Europe you're based out of.
I have several bases. Right now I'm in the Netherlands, but I also have a base in Cyprus and in Switzerland.
Okay, so we're basically all massively jealous of you.
That's fine. I can live with that.
But happy Friday. It's 9 p.m. for you where you are. So thank you for staying awake. I don't know if I'm going to be staying awake until 9 p.m. tonight, honestly.
And that's the difference why you look so fresh and I look like, already my eyes are closing.
Exactly. No difference in skincare routine here. Lydia, will you share with the audience what you do and who you serve?
Yeah, of course. I am a mindset coach and life coach for entrepreneurs, for high achievers. And I basically work with people who want out of the hustle world, and they just want to find more fulfillment in their private lives and at the same time grow their business. So they don't want to give up their business for a more joyful life. They want it all, but they don't know yet how, and I help them to get there.
That's awesome. Yeah. And today we are talking about courage and bravery and all that jazz. How has courage showed up in your life?
I think just being an entrepreneur is courage and bravery in itself. I guess everyone here says that, but I just have to bring it up as the first thing. And yeah, just looking back on my own life, I think I never thought it very much as bravery or courage. So I think it's more in retrospect, or that you hear other people who say like, wow, that's so brave.
Yeah.
Like the way how I grew up, for example, I grew up in a kind of religious cult, and many people never get out of these things,
Right.
because there is so much pressure, there is so much freedom taken away. And for me, it was just the normal thing, or not the normal, but I just went on my path and did my things and got out. So for other people, that was tremendously courageous. And for me, that was just normal, So it's difficult to sometimes say what is brave and courageous, because for other people, it's like, wow. And for you, it was just the only step you could take, so to say.
Right. Well, and I think this is the point, is that people feel bad that like their little brave moments don't match up to other people's brave moments. And bravery is different for everyone. Right. And it's like the things that scare us are different, and also the circumstances that we come up against. I mean, not everyone is born in a cult. Not everyone has to kind of reckon with, do I stay or do I go?
Exactly.
So it's partially like what's baked into you that you're going to be afraid of, that you have to overcome. And also what cards are you dealt in life?
Yeah.
Also, I mean, I don't know if you feel the same way, but bravery doesn't feel good when you're in it. Like that feeling of, wow, I was so brave and I did this thing, and that, how cool. Like that comes way after. That's hindsight. That's when you're wearing your 20/20 glasses and you're like looking back. In the moment, you're just trying to get through and trying to just do that next step and then next step and then next step.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. I never thought about this like this. But while you're in it, it is the opposite of bravery and courage. You feel tremendous fear, you feel, or whatever it is, discomfort, sadness, all of these things, like all the emotions. I do a lot of like emotional mastery with my clients. I'm working around that. And while you're doing all these things, you're basically facing all the feelings that most of society just wants to repress. And that's probably why other people then look at them and say like, oh, wow, you did this thing. Because just seeing that, you have to face like seeing the courage and the bravery of other people. You're basically facing the uncomfortable or the discomfort and the uncomfortable emotions that this person, like subconsciously, that it's not that you think about that, has gone through. Like people, when we think about bravery, like going onto the street, Iran or whatever, like with your life, we look at that and we just see like, oh my God, that could be my death, like fear, just seeing that. So I think it's a good point that you made there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that image you just painted for me, I mean, it takes me back a few days ago when I was really doing my research on what was going on there. And you're watching these videos of these women like standing on top of a cart dancing without their head covered in front of the morality police. And I literally like was transported into, oh my God, I would have like sweat stains under my armpits. I would just like, you feel your like panic response, your anxiety
Exactly.
response going in, like you could be shot at any moment. And that's what this person is going through and being so brave. I think that's when we share those brave moments, like we share, walking out on stage in front of 2,000 people and giving a speech. A lot of people would be like, oh, like it's just kind of triggering every little fear that they would potentially have in that moment.
Yeah, that's so true. And yeah, and very often then the other side is then when we see that, how to say that, when we think, like we project our own fears onto that person.
Yeah.
But when you are in that situation, that again shows that courage is like, yeah, you have to face your own fears. And at the same point, because it's your biography, it's you, where you come from. And when you're already doing these things, you have some kind of resilience or something in you that makes you able to do that. And that's again why we can't compare ourselves to others. If you're in a very different circumstance, something else might be a step toward like a courageous step for you and not that. It's the same when you compare trauma, like people who grew up in a war and all of this stuff. You can't compare that because people who live in such a circumstance, like we can't, or death, we can't compare that because we are in a very different circumstance. So we have no idea how we would react in that situation.
Yeah.
And some people, like there are some trauma researchers who say you are already equipped with certain things due to that, or because of that circumstance, so to say. And that's someone who is not in that situation will never understand that.
Right.
And this is why these people still can have a life afterwards, where you think like, how can you even live with what you have gone through? But we can't compare these things. And that's probably the message for everyone out there. Like, do your own courageous steps. And that could just be go out of the house, like it can be whatever. And it can be as big as a step.
Yeah.
Because you're facing your own stuff, so to say.
Yeah. No, 100%. I'm in this trauma of money certification course right now. And it's really interesting, all the research they're doing on epigenetics and like how trauma of pregnant mothers like gets passed down to the baby. It's really like, you imagine a mother, say in the Ukraine right now, who's pregnant, their cortisol levels are way higher than they would normally be, right? That baby that's growing inside them is getting acclimated to really high cortisol levels. So their tolerance for high cortisol levels will be much higher than a baby who was born in peacetime, whose mom wasn't going through something like this.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting, right?
It's fascinating. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
How do you apply all this to your clients?
I just have like certain steps. It's like so much. Like I've been doing coaching the past 10 years and you just develop, I think, your own methodology.
Yeah.
But a lot of clients who come to me, they have faced not necessarily cults, growing up in cults. Some have, but not like perhaps 20%, if even.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest, like many of them, had just very emotionally unstable backgrounds in their childhood, like very unstable parent situations. So they faced similar things, but in a different setting.
Mm-hmm.
And they are just automatically drawn to me, probably because I have gone through that, and they just know on a deep level they can get support from me. First and foremost, because I have an understanding for that.
Yeah.
So many people, when you say like my parents left me or my parents were never there for me, it's like, yeah, whatever, just grow up. You don't get the understanding necessarily from someone, or also to deal with that. I had a coach once who was amazing, who helped me amazingly well with business growth. But when it came to that question of how can I find this fulfillment and happiness deep inside of me, she wasn't able to support me because she never had this way how I grew up. Like you can understand this. I grew up in a collective setting. It was all like that. The focus was always on the collective and the ideology.
Right.
So focusing on individuality and who are you? I didn't have this for 18 years. So I had to build this later on. And I guess with that came, for example, a kind of depressive trait, or also a trait of what is personal fulfillment if you have never built personality?
Right.
So someone who hadn't gone through anything similar was always like, yeah, just be happy, just find something nice to do and to be happy. But that was not the root issue.
Right.
So what I want to say is people who have dealt with certain things know that, well, not know, but they come to me because they know I can help them with that. So I apply stuff I had to overcome through my upbringing, my past 30 years, like in the cult, but then working through that in my coaching practice. Or did you want specific like modalities?
No. I think that's well, it's really this question of like a coach bringing them their full selves. And, here's the thing, like a coach can only take their clients as far as they've personally gone.
Exactly.
So if a coach has had a really nice life and like had supportive parents and really had that experience of growing up where it's like, oh, you're so funny. And oh, you really like princesses, like having those like reflective feedback of what their personality is. And they haven't realized that other people maybe haven't had that. There's no ability to empathize or to see your experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? So I think this is a great lesson for our listeners. If you're looking for a coach, look for someone, if you've had trauma in your life, look for someone who's had trauma and has done their trauma work.
Yeah.
Who can see like what you've gone through and actually hold space for it.
Yeah. And perhaps something else I could add to that is that a lot of the work, especially when it's about business, I guess there are also lots of people who listen, it's very often it's about, like in the entrepreneurial scene, it's about growing your business. And at least like we know that 80% at least is mindset, but then like to really deal with the wounds in your life. And that for some people, there are a lot of successful entrepreneurs out there who don't have any kind of success in their relationships.
Yeah.
And I don't say that it's a bad thing. I just mean for many people, and I was one of these people, so to take care of that and get coaching and support in that area will tremendously help in business. If you don't take care of all these other areas around business, you will never get to your full potential, or you will get very far, but not have the fulfillment factor of like, wow, I actually like what I'm doing, or actually like, I'm not just a workaholic, I enjoy my life and give impact and tremendous value to the world.
Yeah.
So I think that's the second thing, to really not only think about business coaching and stuff, but rather about the whole life and get support in all areas of your life if you want a successful business.
Oh, 100%. I mean, if you're a workaholic and you get all of your fulfillment from your work, and having success in your work matters that much because it's the only way you get that good feedback, you're probably not going to take many risks. You're probably not going to try something that could be wildly successful, but could also flop, right? You're probably just going to like keep pushing in the ways that that you could be successful, but it just becomes boring after a while.
Yeah, and for many people, that's a topic in my coaching as well. If they have this overachieving or even hyperachieving personality type, very often for them, and most people nowadays know that, for many people was, for example, a reason in their childhood that they never got love for just being, just for their existence. They only got kind of love or something like appreciation when they achieved, even as small kids already.
Yeah.
Or they didn't even get appreciation, perhaps just a tiny, like little bit of attention or something. And to understand that this could be the root of this crazy hustle culture. I mentioned that I work with a lot of people who want out of that you will have to deal with this personal stuff. It doesn't help to just have beautiful scheduling software or something like timetables. That does not help. That's just Working with the symptom, but not with the root. Why are you laughing?
No, I'm laughing because scheduling has been a big topic with my clients and with my groups today or this week. And literally, I was on a group call earlier today, my Brave Biz Labs. And a couple people were like, how do we organize our weeks? And there's a point to which it does help, but then it's also kind of just rearranging stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you can absolutely, like, when I figured out how to organize my week so that I could have more time for me, that helped my business. But also, I think people get so sucked into, here's like the time management tool, and I'm going to spend like a whole week setting it up, and I'm going to like try to figure out how to manage projects. And it's like, no, just like, you can just do it.
Mm.
You know, it's kind of like a stalling tactic to like
Yeah.
actually doing the work and actually putting yourself out there sometimes.
Procrastination.
Yeah, I know. We're so talented at procrastination.
Yeah. And still many people, you know, like it's an amazing tool when applied properly. And just an example, so many people, they have everything scheduled, they have their free time, but what do they do in their free time? They sit there and think about their clients. I have been guilty of that. They sit there and already think like, oh my God, you know, what do I do tomorrow? What's my new copy? And or worry if that's the thing at the moment, like money worry and stuff. So it's nice to have free time and just sit on your front porch and have a coffee. But if you're still mentally in another place, it, you know, like that doesn't give you much.
No, it doesn't. No. And I know that from experience.
I think we all do.
Also, I think that's the tricky balance between doing something you really love, where you get to help people on something that you're super excited to help them on, and also having that work-life balance where you actually have a life and you tend to yourself, because it's like you're so excited about what you do and who you help. And also you have to like rejuvenate and refill your cup.
Yeah, and that's the thing then. Like I totally get that, because all of that has been me. But also, you know, like what I do with my clients is always like look deeper. Like, of course, there are some people who don't want to change that, and they don't come to me. And there are people who figure out like, okay, right now I'm in my 30s, I'm in my 40s. I'm at the height of my energy. I'm at the height of my health, of everything. But keep doing this workload you're doing right now that energizes you for 10 more years, and then you're done.
Yeah.
So, you know, like thinking a bit further, or thinking about like how much time do you want to spend with your family, with your partner, all of that. You know, like if you think a little bit bigger, it's just not sustainable. And then it's the big question again, this identity, like this helper identity, where does this come from? Who are you without that? Can you live without that? And many people crumble. If you take this away from them, they feel like nothing, like, you know, and this is where you can go deeper, because you can still go back to helping afterwards, but you can come from a place where it's not like grabbing onto that, like, oh my God, don't take this away from me. Like if you're, it's also another part of freedom. Like freedom is a big thing for entrepreneurs. If you have the freedom to choose that every day, it's something totally different. You will show up differently for your clients and everyone if you don't need this anymore. If it is just from utter freedom and joy in that moment. Like, do you know what I want to say?
I 100% get it. It's I have a former client who is saying this, how she works Monday through Thursday, and Fridays are like an opt-in day for her. You know, so on Fridays, if she wants to work, she gives herself permission, but also it's generally a free day. She doesn't take any clients that day. And like she was saying, how on the days where she gets to choose to work, where like she's like, oh, you know, I really want to work on that project for that one client, or I really want to do this, or I really want to create some content. It's so much more fun, and she feels so much more alive when she does it, because it's something that she's doing because she has choice, when she could be going and gardening, or she could be taking the dog for a walk, or, you know, doing anything else that's fun. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a little bit, it sounds a little bit like, and that also is courage, and would be interesting what you think about that, or you experience with your clients. Like I price my offers around how much I love them, almost like my one-to-one call is price-wise so much higher than Voxer days that I also do. Like you can basically chat with me on Voxer for the whole day for the same price as a call of 90 minutes. And that is the thing, because for me, just checking in on my phone whenever I want throughout the day is so much freedom and has so much choice, because I can choose the moment. It could be like I just want to grab a nice coffee or tea and then sit outside in the sun or in the rain at the moment here, and just listen to that. Like, I have the choice throughout the day, where, when, how, and the call is on the computer, it needs to be in a place, like, it's much less freedom for me. And that's why I still offer them. I still like them. They have tremendous value. But if someone wants that from me, just has to pay a lot more than having access to me, where I have choice throughout the day. So it's also kind of great. Like, it could be for other people like, oh my God, how can you do that? How can you put like so much money for 90 euros versus like the whole day thing? Like, for pricing, that's also a big thing for people. Like, how do you choose prices? How can you have higher prices when other people choose, I don't know, a tenth or so?
Yeah. Tommy saying hi. Good to see you again, Lydia.
Yeah,
Oh, and
lovely.
it's Voxer, right? Voxer. Tommy.
No, ER. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a messaging app.
Tommy. Yeah, look for Voxer ER. We don't want you going down a wormhole of weird apps on the Apple Store.
Oh my God, I don't know what comes up.
I know, I'll have to look it up after this. Well, I love that, because it's like here's the scary thing for a lot of business owners. Like, oh my God, well, what can I offer? You can offer pretty much anything, and there's bravery in going out and saying, here's how I do business.
Yeah.
So you can do this or you can do this. But yeah, no. And I think it's lovely that you're so consciously every single moment you're deciding, do I want freedom or do I want to give up some freedom for more money?
Yeah.
Essentially.
Exactly. Well, there are actually, if it's about money, you can find many different ways how to, but it would go too far. But like, people who just build their business around how can I make the most money, that's definitely not the way how you will make the most money.
Right. Yeah.
But we know that.
Yeah. Impact and happiness
Exactly.
and fulfillment.
Yeah.
If you're focusing on those three things, you're gonna, like, the money is going to come. It won't be able to stay away from you.
Exactly. And it might even come through, that's always very interesting. It might even come through the channels you thought, like, oh, I have these offers. This is how people can come to me.
Mm-hmm.
It can go so many different ways how the money shows up. But the focus needs to be on these things that you just mentioned, not on the money.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So for clients who are just starting out and they have like one major block, like, is there a specific activity you have them do?
My main activity, everyone gets to do that. And it's not one major block, but it's this shift away from, how to say that? Like, I work a lot with emotional stuff, energy stuff, but not so much in a woo-woo way.
Mm-hmm.
How to say that? But it could be, the block could be, for example, these people who work a lot and have no idea how they can have more ease, because they are already at max capacity. They want to scale their business and they know, I can't put in more hours. It's just humanly, it's not possible. I don't have more than 24 hours. It's not possible. So they're what they desire is more ease. They are like stressed out. They want relief and ease. And other people, for example, have perhaps like money struggles. They already have a lot of income, but they need more, because that's a common topic with entrepreneurs. You grow your income, you grow your expenses, and it always keeps balance. And you have to learn to to do this instead of So
I think that goes to relationship with money a lot.
Yeah.
And
one nice thing that I have them do is, for example, if it's ease and relief, like, whatever goal you have, what is the emotional or the energy behind that you want to achieve? What is the emotional, the feeling state?
Yeah.
So if you had that money, if you had more money, how would you feel? If you had, like, more time for yourself, how would you feel? And then I have them work with these feeling states, target feeling states. So they get different activities throughout the day that they can step into this feeling now without having that goal achieved yet.
Yeah.
And this is how they obviously then get to that goal of like having that. And they really get like several things throughout the day and do this at least for 30 days or how long they work with me. Like they do some journaling around that. It has to do with building awareness. So whenever like I have them stop throughout the day and really revisit, like, where did I feel this throughout the day, and go back to that and like feel into it. Or whenever they feel it in the moment, to take a moment and stop and just like say it aloud to themselves, or like whisper it to themselves, like, I feel ease in this moment.
Yeah.
And it's because building that muscle is the first thing, you know, and then you will see, like, once you put that awareness, you will be aware of it more and more and more. And this is how it grows. Like, it's this famous saying, what you focus on expands. But the thing is, you have to apply that. You have to do it. So this is why it's nice to have a coach, because I do like every day, tip, 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 tip. If they don't do it, you know, like the accountability part. And yeah, it doesn't take a lot. It sounds so stupid and easy. And it's one of the biggest shifts ever. And you can do this for everyone, for everything, you know, like if you want more abundance and feel more wealthy, you know, like you have to get to a state first before that stuff happens. I call it like become a vibrational match for that. Yeah. If you're in stress and overwhelm and worry and all of that, this money will never, like, you will block that. You will not see the opportunities. Yeah. And the more you get to a state of that, you will see the opportunities. So we have to build this. We have to make you become a vibrational match to that. And this is one of the small but most impactful little tools ever for that.
Yeah.
Make sense?
No, it makes so much sense. I mean, it's a core part of manifestation.
Yeah.
You know, when you manifest, you really do not only have to focus on imagining that you already have it, but you have to really get yourself, your body, all, like your whole body, your emotional body, your physical body, your mind on board with, I have this, it's already going on.
Yeah. I
am bringing it into me. Because, I mean, here's the thing. People think, okay, well, I'm going to make $1 million first, and then I'm going to lose weight. Right? Yeah. Like my rich self is going to be a lot thinner.
Yeah.
And that actually creates so much dissonance, because the longer you spend overweight, the further you are away from being wealthy.
Yeah.
So you're actually like coming up with more and more reasons why it's not going to happen right now.
Yeah.
Versus just,
that's,
you know, right? Like my body right now, it's a little chubby, a little more cushion. It's gonna be a millionaire. I'm gonna be a millionaire chubby person. And it's gonna be fabulous. And I'm gonna be so happy. And I'm gonna buy like amazing clothes that like really accentuate my curves and all that. Like when you create your goals for a different person than you are already, then it's not likely to happen. I was listening to this book by Denise Duffield Thomas, Lucky Bitch. Have you ever read her?
I think I have read her book, but I haven't listened, like not audiobook, but
yeah, I was listening to it. And I think the UK lottery, they did a study on people who've won the lottery. Yeah. And I think only like 20-something%, and I could get this wrong, I'm terrible with statistics. But only 20% after they won the lottery actually tried different hobbies, right? And so you know how people always say, oh, well, when I have this money, I'm going to really go and do this exciting thing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to take up sewing. I'm going to take up post writing. It's very rare that they actually do when they have the funds, right?
Or so, the interesting part, many of them, like most of them actually are poorer than before a year later. They get rid of the money so quickly because, again, they are not a match. They are not in the vibration. They can't hold that wealth.
No. They just burn through it so fast.
Yeah. And people, again, I'm not sure if it's in that book or another book, then people who have already achieved $1 million lose everything. So many of them are back with another enterprise or something with another, like more than $1 million a year later. Like it goes so quickly because they already have an idea of this state, like how the feeling state of the embodiment of that person. So they can go done.
Yeah.
And that's, what you said. It's it's embodiment on all levels that we have to practice with whatever goal. And we have to understand, as you said, like what's really behind that goal. Yeah. I had this because you spoke about weight, and I recently had this with a client also around weight, where she wondered why she can't lose that weight. And it's right now it has escaped me, but it was so interesting what was connected with her, that it made so much sense that she wouldn't lose that, because it was something else that was connected. Like, how would she feel if I asked her, like, how would you feel? Something with confidence, I don't know. And it was really, as long as you don't feel that, you will never lose that weight.
Yeah.
Because if you're not that person, it just keeps you from that. So
yeah,
it's always what is behind.
yeah,
And that's a lot of the work I do with my clients.
yeah. I mean, like, believing before it's true.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, if you don't believe that you're gonna be able to run a 9-minute mile, like, it doesn't matter how much you train, you're never gonna be able to run a 9-minute mile, because you're never gonna believe it's gonna happen. So you're not gonna push yourself in the same way.
Yeah.
Right? You're not gonna set yourself up for success for that.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
And we know all these things, and still for so many people, and for us included, I guess, we have our own little demons along the way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've done an excellent job our whole lives up to this point, building up all the evidence that we're bad at stuff, that this can't happen, that this is just the way it is, blah, 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 blah. Your whole family does this, so you have to be the same. It's hard to unpack all that.
Yeah.
It takes work, and a lot of people, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty busy. So there's some things that I just like don't have the time to do the work on.
I think for me, but it was probably, again, the upbringing. It just made it essential for, I guess, my survival, that I had to deal, that I got very early on into the habit of coaching and dealing with stuff. And I'm probably more on the extreme side of always wanting to, like, get more done or heal more, or another thing that doesn't work. And I never understand people who say, like, oh, whatever, like, I'm fine, I can live with that. Like, I understand it now, but I also know that I'm on the very different pole. And for me, sometimes it's nice to say, like, hey, it's okay, you don't have to deal with that. Like, you can just let it be. So I'm more on the extreme other side of everything that happens is like, we could get some coaching around this. But it makes sense, like our upbringing just might make, makes very much sense in my case.
Right. Well, and I think this is just a great lesson for anyone who's watching, that, the cards you were given when you're a kid set you up differently for different things. And so it's impossible to play the compare game with everyone else, because you don't know what circumstances they were born into and what they had to overcome or what they were handed. And, it's there, the levels of bravery and where the bravery is required is going to be different for every damn person.
Yeah.
We're coming up on time. If you had one lesson you wanted to leave with the audience, what would it be?
One lesson. Yeah, as I just mentioned, I love coaching, and I think I always like to work on many things. But what I started with as well, like, just to open up to the idea that anything is possible and that you can have it all. Like, the more we grow into that belief, as you said so nicely before with the 9-minute mile, only when we believe it, it can become a reality. And so many people sacrifice certain things, as I said before, relationships, friendships, certain hobbies, childhood dreams, because they think they cannot get the other thing done. And my message really is, we can live the fullness of everything. Like, we can invite everything into our lives and into our business. And business can include, like, there are ways how to make this happen. And if just a tiny little bit more, like, people open up to that, I'm already happy to think like that.
Yeah. Beautiful. Lydia, thank you so much for being here with us today, or tonight for you. If anyone wants to get in touch with you, how should they do that?
They can message me on LinkedIn, Instagram. That's the easiest. Should I put this somewhere in the chat, or will you put this?
If you could put your Instagram handle in the chat.
Oh my God, I have to look this up. It was super clear.
All right.
Does it need to be now? I can quickly
It can
look
be
it up.
later. You don't have to do
Okay,
it
then
now.
I'll do it later.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here today. And actually, you're here on my 30th day of me going live every day in September.
Oh, wow. I love
No.
that.
Thank you. I was really running out of steam towards the end there, so I really appreciate you being here.
Oh, I love that. And it's the birthday of my sister today, the 30th.
Oh,
So
happy
that's
birthday
lovely.
to your sister. And I would love to have you back. This has been such a great conversation.
Yeah, I think we could talk much more about
I know.
things, like
I know.
many things. I also want to hear much more about you. For me, it was like you asking questions. I'd like blah, 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 blah. And then perhaps I can ask
All right.
back a
Well,
little bit.
we'll schedule a follow-up one.
Yeah, we do that. So
Well,
cool. Have a
that was-
lovely day.
yeah, you too. Have a great night. And for everyone watching and Tommy who chimed in, thank you for watching. I hope you have an amazing rest of your Friday and a great weekend. And we'll see you live soon. All right. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.